I think he'll.
मॅडम पब्लिक मध्येच टाकायचं ना?
हो, पब्लिक मध्ये.
हा ठीक आहे, टाकलं. होईल 1-2 मिनिटात.
Yes.
झालं की आपण याचा चेक पण करू दे.
Everyone is requested to click on OK where it says the meeting is being live.
पब्लिक मध्येच टाकायचं ना?
हो, पब्लिक मध्ये.
हा ठीक आहे, टाकलं.
हे म्यूट आहे ना बघा तिथला स्पीकर युट्यूबचा.
झालं की आपण याचा चेक पण केलं, म्यूट केलं.
हा, सुरू करूया. ओव्हर टू राजगोपाल सर.
Okay, let's get started. So welcome everyone. Very good evening to all of you. And I would like to welcome you on behalf of Maharashtra Vruksha Samvardhini and Institute of Natural History Education and Research Pune, in association with the Department of Botany at Junjunwala College, Mumbai. We are happy to have you all for this online session this evening. Today, as many of you know, is the World Wildlife Day, proclaimed by United Nations General Assembly to raise the awareness about the benefits of flora and fauna. Among the things that they mentioned, and I feel is very pertinent, is the importance and the intrinsic value of wildlife and the various contributions, including ecological, genetic, social, economic, scientific, educational, cultural, recreational, and aesthetic, to a sustainable development and human well-being. So today we celebrate the incredible diversity of life on our planet, and birds are an integral part of that fabric of nature. We will be exploring the fascinating world of bird behavior, and with it we not only gain a deeper appreciation of these avian wonders, but I'm sure we'll also highlight the importance of conservation efforts to protect their habitats and ensure a long-term survival of these incredible species. So today I have an honor of introducing a teacher who inspired me with his vast knowledge of the subject and a wonderful connect with the students. In late 1980s, Dr. Parvish Pandya, sir, he used to talk in the Bhavans College Nature Club and at BNHS, and those were a treat to attend. And he has continued that, and he has continued to inspire students for many decades now. And many of his students, as he was telling earlier, went on to build a career in conservation and biodiversity and related fields. He has taught for 37 years and retired as the associate professor and vice principal of the Bhavans College, Andheri. And apart from that, he also has a more than 45 years of teaching and training experience across undergraduate, postgraduate, and international curricula, including IB, AP, SAT, and A levels. Currently, he serves as consulting director, science and conservation with the Sanctuary Nature Foundation, and is also consultant editor for Sanctuary Asia and Cub magazine. A life member and a governing council member of the prestigious Bombay Natural History Society, Dr. Pandya has been deeply involved in national and international conservation initiatives. He has been recipient of Sanctuary Green Teacher Award and the Ideal Teacher Award. He has also delivered thousands of lectures, workshops, and nature trails for students, corporate leaders, armed services, and policymakers. He is very passionate about education, biodiversity, and climate action, and he continues to bridge science, conservation, and public awareness through his lifelong commitment to nature and environmental stewardship. With this brief introduction, I welcome Parvish sir to our virtual stage, and I request him to proceed with the talk.
Thank you so much for this lovely introduction. I'm extremely happy to be a part of this program. And my people, my colleagues, my students all know very well that I love to talk about nature, wildlife, environment, and in the recent times about climate change as well as climate finance. And I'm indeed happy to share my visuals as well as my videos with all of you in this talk or session, I would say, on bird behavior. I will straight away go into the PowerPoint that I have prepared for today's session. My session will be in two parts. First of all, I will share the details and nomenclature which is used in bird behavior and familiarize you with some of the words. They're not technical, they're not biological, they're not zoological, they're not very difficult to remember. These are all very easy English terminology that we use in our day-to-day lives as well. But once you do that, once you understand that, then the study and understanding of animal behavior and bird behavior particularly will be easy for you. That is first part. Second, I have in my last 30 years of photography been able to record several video clips about bird behavior. And this is what I find very interesting because I will be able to show actual videos on bird behavior and I will interpret on that, muting the sound as far as possible, but I will give my own commentary so that I can speak about what is happening in the video. You can ask your questions in the chat box, which is available here. And later on, Rajgopal sir will ask those questions at the end of the session, picking them up from the chat box. It may not be possible for the organizers to pick up every question from the YouTube channel, but I request the organizers to see if there are any interesting questions on the YouTube channel, because there the relay is a little lag, and so it may take a little time for the questions to appear as well as the video to be played. I request everybody to please mute yourself. These are all the things which I am used to when I conduct these online Zoom sessions. But if you have any question, then rather than unmuting yourself, it will be good if you can ask on the chat box, and then later on we can take these questions one by one at the end of the session. Having said that, now let me directly go to the session. Yeah. I will not ask whether you are able to see my screen because I know I conduct several sessions. But if you can't see the screen, then let me know. Okay, I'll go ahead now. Basically, the organizers wanted me to talk about courtship, cooperation, and cleverness. I consider these as survival strategies. And the order of the survival strategies are actually cleverness, which gives rise to cooperation, which ends in courtship and mating, because for every animal, the success of survival is reproduction. Being able to leave individuals of their own species, of their own types in the environment, in the population, in the ecosystem, in the community, that is the only success rate of every species. So what is behavior? Many people say behavior is what an animal or a bird does. But let me tell you, sometimes behavior is also what an animal does not do. And why does it not do? That's because sometimes birds, they just freeze themselves. By freeze, I mean they become totally motionless. Otherwise, if they move, then the predators may be able to observe them or locate them. So becoming motionless is also behavior, and therefore the best definition of behavior is response to stimuli. What do I mean by stimulus? Stimulus is any physical, chemical, or electromagnetic change which occurs in the environment. But sometimes there are chemical stimuli which are caused inside the body. For example, hunger. Hunger is a stimulus which is caused due to secretion of gastric juices and acids in the stomach, which tells an animal, "Arey bhai, time ho gaya khana khane ke liye. It's time now to hunt something, or it is time to eat for something." So that is also a stimulus. What is response? When there is a stimulus, then there is reaction. The reaction is response. And response to a stimulus is behavior. The science of behavior is called as ethology. And there are many ethologists who have done pioneering work, due to which some of them have been Nobel Prize winners. Not necessary that all the ethology work was done by birds. For example, if you see Carl von Frisch, what he did was what we know today as honeybee waggle dance. waggle dance is a very beautiful, physically proved, systematic dance which is done by honeybees to tell its fellow honeybees in the hive the location of sugar or nectar and the distance from the hive and the direction of the hive of that sugar. This waggle dance was actually understood and told to the world by Carl von Frisch. Nico Tinbergen did the study about observing and using visual stimuli for understanding. What he did was he did work on digger wasp, where when the actual wasp nest was in the center of cone trees, he just shifted the cone trees and kept the nest there only, and the wasp came back trying to locate its nest in the center of the cone trees, and therefore using the visual of the cone trees which were surrounding rather than the nest which was in the center. Konrad Lorenz, fantastic behavioral studies on what is called imprinting. What he did was, when he took eggs of geese and he incubated them in an oven, when the geese came out, when the chicks came out, the first moving thing that the chicks saw was this scientist. And that's why in a very critical initial stage of life, the chicks saw the moving thing and they identified that moving thing as its own type, as its own species, and therefore its own mother. And then onwards, the chicks started moving Konrad Lorenz. This is called imprinting. We are all doing some kind of behavior from these three scientists at some point of time or the other. There are other behavioral studies also which were done. I will not talk too much about them. For example, Pavlov's conditioning, which he did, conditioning. That is something which I talk to my students a lot. Karela kadwa hai is conditioning of your mind. This person is a stupid idiot, that is conditioning of the mind. Pavlov did that, and we are all subject to conditioning right from our birth till our death, and we all the time live in that misunderstanding of conditioning. The moment you disassociated two independent events, your conditioning will vanish and everything will be happy. There will be no sad moment in life. I wish that you just type conditioning and how I can become independent of the conditioning of my mind and thereby make my life happy always. No sad moment. That is conditioning. I'm sorry, when I talk about any aspect of animals, I try and tell my students how to live their life better. And that I will keep on doing, because it is no use of studying any behavior without being able to implement all these aspects to make your life better. Okay. What are two types of behavior? Innate, inborn. The animal is born with it. Learned means what an animal through experience in life learns. Okay. So innate behavior is instinct. Human beings have a lot of instinctive behavior. For example, when you are about to fall from a ledge, then without anybody telling you, your muscles and your hands start balancing so that you will not fall. That is instinct. Nobody taught you. You were born with these instincts. But what happens in human lifestyle is that mannerism teaches us to curtail or to suppress the instincts. I'll give a very easy example when I talk even in the class. When you see a person who is bald like me, then you feel like going and giving a tupply on the head, but your manners suppress the instinct of giving a tupply. So this is where mannerisms are important in life also. Okay. Now, learned behaviors are like learning a call, observation and modifying your behavior throughout your life and so on. Imprinting here is being shown of how Konrad Lorenz was the mother to these imprinted geese. Imprinting is used today in conservation biology also. For example, when certain species of cranes became extremely rare and endangered, the whooping crane in the America, then a scientist who had worn the beak, artificial beak and head of the crane on his body, when he actually took the eggs and incubated them, and when the chicks came out, the chicks saw the first thing as scientists. The idea was that when these chicks grew up, the scientist boarded himself on this flying machine, a very small aircraft, and he made the cranes to migrate. So some of these experiments have been successful, but on Indian cranes which were there, which used to migrate to Bharatpur all over from China, going over Afghanistan, Baluchistan and Pakistan into India, those cranes could not take the lesson, and therefore the crane species is locally extinct. Locally means only in India it is extinct, but in China there is still a population of these cranes which migrates down. Okay. Now, every behavior has some value, has some survival value. For example, hygiene. To maintain hygiene, the birds have to preen. It's called preening behavior. Or bathing, they have to take bath. Or anting. Preening means using the beak to trim, clean, and modify the feather condition and so on. Many a times when the birds fly, the feathers just break up because there are barbs and barbules which connect like a Velcro zip in the feathers. So when that becomes tattered, open, then they use their beak to put back the Velcro zipper so that the feathers become connected. That is very important for them to fly or for the condition of the feathers for all its activities and movement. Bathing simply means taking bath in the water. That's also an important hygiene behavior. Anting. Anting is a special behavior seen in certain jays and sparrows where the birds deliberately pick up ants. They squeeze them at the base of the feather. We know very well that ants have formic acid. The formic acid gets released, and that formic acid is a very good antiseptic or antibiotic, and it clears the infections which may be there at the base of the feathers of these birds. Okay. There's also dust bathing. And what is that? Sparrows, if you know, they love mud. What they do is they bathe in the mud. They furl their feathers and so on in the mud. And one scientist conducted a sample of the mud before the bathing and after the bathing, and he found that many external parasites like ticks and mites and so on, tiny parasites which were found on the birds, had actually come into the mud. So the sparrows use that. And many people, when they ask me why sparrows have diminished in their own colony, I tell them, blame it to all the concretization, asphalting, and all the surfacing that you have done in your compound. Had you come to Bhavan's College, you would have seen that there's so much of mud in the campus that sparrows are quite successful and in good numbers. Because if you don't give them mud, they will not come because they cannot do the mud bathing, thereby relieving themselves of external parasites. Feeding behavior. Now, feeding among birds is of different types. Fruit eating, it's called frugivorous, like parrots, like birds which are like parrots. You might have seen them on chiku trees, on guava trees, and so on. They feed on fruits. Hornbills are fantastic fruit eaters, and that is why hornbills are called as ecological indicators. What do you mean by ecological indicator? The moment you see a hornbill, you can be rest assured that that forest has many fruiting trees. Frugivorous. Grainivorous, grain eating, seed eating, like all the munias, finches, parrotbills. Okay, these are all seed eating. In the Himalaya, you see the seed which are exposed like coniferous trees, and there also you have birds which remove these seeds and feed on them. Nectar feeding, nectarivorous, like sunbirds, flower peckers, birds which have a long beak, because nectaries in flowers are actually at the base of the flower, and the base of the flower is quite far away from the opening of the corolla, okay, the petals. And so to reach there, you need long beak. And in sunbirds, there are special type of sunbirds which feed on specific flowers depending upon the length of the tube of the corolla, the beak length is seen. That's a fantastic thing. And a lot of these studies in India were done by Dr. Salim Ali, my guru, who I had the fortune of going for bird watching in my college days. Mangesh also has probably come through bird watching programs in Ruya with Dr. Salim Ali. Insect eating, insectivorous. For example, nightjars, shrikes, and actually speaking, every bird parent has to pick up insects, adult or caterpillars, to feed their young ones when the young ones are in the nest, because insects give a lot of protein content, and that is extremely important for the young birds, the chicks or choose as we call, when they are in the initial stages of growth. Predating, we call them carnivorous or predaceous birds. These are all predatory birds. They could be scavenging like vultures or crows. Crows are general. They feed on all the variety of diets if you see above. And actual predatory birds like eagles, hawks, kites, falcons, these are all birds which capture live, eat the flesh because they have tearing type of teeth and claws. Actually, early birds were all carnivorous. They were all mostly feeding on insects, But later on, as adaptations made different types of beaks, they started moving out into different habitats, what we call in zoology as adaptive radiation. Radiating from the parental stock, moving on into different habitats, niches, ecosystems, depending upon the adaptations which were developed in their body, not in 1 year, not in one generation, but in hundreds of generations, these adaptations became better and better suitable. Some birds are generalists. What do you mean by generalist? Feeding on a wide range of items. Now, when the birds, like for example, crow feeds on practically everything, including your nasal drops and your fecal matter lying along the railway lines in Bombay. I'm sorry, but I'm using these words, but you will understand that crows are generalists. They feed on everything. And some birds are specialists. What do you mean by specialists? Their beak has adapted into a very special diet. Like, for example, I will talk about the Asian openbill, what used to be called as openbill stork. The stork has a natural gap in the middle of the beak, okay, like this. Now, this gap allows the bird to pick up its food, which is favorite diet, and that is nothing but kuba or apple snail. Okay, imagine if the bird were to have a flat beak like this. If the snail is captured in the center and if the beak is shut, then what will happen? The shell of the snail will crack and will pierce the soft body of the snail. But by having a gap, a natural gap, which is the size of the snail shell, when the beak closes, only the shell cracks. The bird then moves its beak sideways, the shell pieces just fall off, and only the soft body of the snail is gulped down by the open-bill stork. These are the specialist feeder. They have a danger, they have a problem. What if because of habitat change, climate change, human impact on environment, what if these snails were to vanish? If the snails vanish, then the stork will also vanish. Because the species is so specialized, we have a terminology, we have a proverb in zoology and biology. We say, over specialization leads to extinction. Which means when an animal is totally specialized, then it becomes difficult for it to survive because environment is dynamic, environment continuously changes, and when environment changes, the food source can change, and when the food source changes, the animal will not find the resources which it was dependent upon and therefore will become extinct. Once again, survival is dependent on adaptation. If they are adapted to feeding a variety of diet, they will be able to survive when the environmental changes occur. But specialization leads to extinction. The degree of specialization will depend. Okay. So here you have a variety of beaks, and these beaks or these types of beaks were developed during the course of evolution. Birds originated in a time period in geology, what is called in the Mesozoic era as Jurassic. Okay. Now this Jurassic period started somewhere around 180 million years ago. Okay. Triassic started 230 million years ago. Jurassic started around 180 million years ago. Mammals evolved during Triassic, Mammals originated in Triassic. Birds originated in Jurassic. In the last 180 million years, from the ancestral prototype of birds, slowly due to adaptations, slowly due to adaptive radiations, adaptations lead to evolution and evolution leads to adaptation. These factors were responsible in producing more and more species diversity through millions of years of evolution. What I have told you in a very simplistic manner is how organic evolution has occurred on this earth. Whether it is birds, mammals, insects, reptiles, whatever category and taxa of animals and plants that we are talking about, this is adaptation. Adaptation leads to evolution and evolution leads to adaptation. So the kind of beaks that you see today are probably from a single monotype which originated 180 million years ago. And from that, we have this adaptation and evolution and species diversity. Today, we have more than 10,000 species of birds. Some claim 12,000. Each one is dependent. Each claim is dependent upon the DNA studies and the species diversity that is studied based on the distribution, adaptation, and bifurcation of species into subspecies, races, and types. Next, senses. Birds have a poor sense of smell and taste. Okay, what is tasty for you is not necessarily tasty for them, but they have a very keen eyesight. Okay, my guru, Dr. Salim Ali, in his book, Book of Indian Birds, writes that birds can change their eyes from a microscope to a telescope in a fraction of a second. And that is why all our old fables about how that eagle was caught in a net and the ant came and broke the animal came and broke the net, and whether it was rat or ant and so on, these are all several stories that we listen to. An important aspect of animal behavior, bird behavior, is communication. What is communication? Communication is passing a message from origin to the target. Communication is passing the message from origin to the target. I can be the origin and target is you. I am trying to communicate to you through the mechanism of language. When I use language, it is vocal communication. But in animals, there is chemical communication, visual communication, auditory communication. Chemical communication means releasing chemicals. Like tiger, it releases chemicals by the name of hormones, pheromones. Pheromones are external hormones. Okay. So pheromones are released by the male tiger outside. It tells the other males that there is another male in the territory. It tells females that there is a possibility of a mate in its own territory. Females also release pheromones and so on. Visual communication, when a predator appears in the field of a prey, then that is visual communication. That communication is a stimulus for the prey to run away. Okay, so that is visual communication. There are several forms. I'm giving you only one example of each. Auditory communication, sound. You have a very famous bird called racket-tailed drongo, which is a great mimicry artist. And this racket-tailed drongo, I have myself recorded 23 species of birds it was calling from a dense foliage. What does a racket-tailed drongo do? It's called Bhimaraj in Marathi and Gujarati. Okay. And this drongo with a long tail feather sits in a nice dense foliage and starts feeding And from there, it starts giving different types of bird calls, which may be gentler birds like orioles and bulbuls and tree pie and so on. It can also be fierce birds like eagles, like crested serpent eagle, shikara, and so on. For many years, scientists were thinking, what is the benefit to the drongo? I told you right at the beginning, behavior and adaptations must have some survival value, benefit. And therefore, this auditory communication, the drongo was giving out calls of 23 different birds. Why was it doing so? That's because while sitting in the foliage, it is enjoying all the source of the food and pretending as if in that dense foliage, there are many birds which are sitting. What will happen? For an outsider, the bird will get an idea that there are so many birds sitting here. Why would I go there? Gentler birds will feel there are competitors, and other birds may feel that there are predators. And so the drongo enjoys it's like, if you go to a hotel and make too much noise, when somebody from outside is passing by, I'll say, nahi, nahi, ye hotel mein bahut awaaz ho raha hai, bahut log hai, let's not go here. That is the parallel that I can tell you. Tactile communication by way of touch. Okay. Now, auditory communication by way of sound. In birds, it is by way of calls. And calls can be of different types. Call could be a song. Call is what is produced by the vocal cords. Okay, that is a call. But some birds can produce sound. That's not a call. Sound by the flutter of the wings. For example, hornbills, when they fly, they make such a loud noise because of the flapping of the wings. Okay, that's a different sound. It's not a call. Call is by way of using vocal sacs, vocal cords, or by way of the guttural sound that they produce. In our case, we have vocal cords, which are present at the base of our throat, where you have the Adam's apple. But in birds, they have syrinx. And the syrinx is where the main trachea divides into two branches. Okay, that junction is where the syrinx is produced. So when you see a pigeon giving that guttural gutturgu kind of sound, at that time the pigeon inflates its throat. You can see that, and that's what becomes like a magnifier, like an amplifier for the sound that is producing from the syrinx. And where is syrinx? I told you it is at the part where the trachea divides into two bronchi. That's where the syrinx is present. So call are of different types. One, song. What is song? Song is what a male, usually, sometimes female, produces during courtship. It is mainly used by birds to attract the female or to announce its own territory. For example, from the month of March, you will see magpie robin calling right from 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay? And we say, Ai Basant Ritu Koel Ban Bole. That means when Vasant Ritu ka Agaman hota hai, tab koel ki आवाज आती है. And koel jab call karte hain, the koel's sound or call is by males. Males have a very nice melodious sound. Females have a clutter kind of a guttural sound that they produce. So song is by male, and birds in their behavior, they learn how to make their song better. I'll give you an example. When a koel is born, it will call only like a koel. It cannot call like a crow. Okay. So genetics makes the call of the koel like a koel. So that is innate behavior. But as the chick grows, it listens to its other parents, especially the male calling. And if it's a male koel, as it is growing, it starts doing riyaz. Riyaz is nothing but calling again and again so that the bird becomes perfect in the call that it is making. So that is becoming perfect in the call. Like a Malabar whistling thrush, the young chick will listen to the adult calling and thereby start practicing. Literally, they start practicing. And by practicing, then they will be able to perfect their call. So that is song. What is alarm call? Alarm call is from one species to some members of the same species, but it is also directed. The target is also other members of different species. Alarm call is basically by an animal when it sees some threat, when it sees some problem, when it sees a predator. I will give you my own example. In Bhavan's college, when I was walking one day from one building to another, in a tree, I could hear the alarm call of bulbul, alarm call of myna, and alarm call of koel and tailor bird. These four birds were giving alarm calls, and I was sure that there is a predator in the tree. And rightly so, I just waited there and looked up in the tree, and I could see a rat snake crawling among the branches. Immediately, I called some of the volunteers who are there in Bhavan's campus, who are snake catchers, I would say snake rescuers. They caught the rat snake and they rescued it. Okay, so that is an alarm call. I will like to give you a beautiful example of the Irula tribals in South. Irulas is a tribe found in Tamil Nadu, and they roam around in the forest. What they do is they just look out with their ears wide open, alarm calls of birds. When they hear the alarm call, they quickly go to that area, and lo behold, usually there is a snake, and many a times the snake is a venomous snake. Irula tribal people were employed by venom extracting anti-serum developer institutes, ASV, anti-snake venom. So these people were employed by these institutes. They would catch the venomous snake. They would bring it to the institute. The snake would be milked. It's called milking of the venom. The snake is made to bite on a jar, and the venom is totally collected in the jar. Then the snake would be given, and the Irulas were taught how to mark from where they had captured the snake, and then the Irulas will go and release the snake at that same spot from where they were captured. So here, using alarm call of an animal for conservation and for human welfare. Social communication. For example, babblers. A spotted babbler gives a call. We say, I will beat you. I will beat you. This is the social call. The spotted babbler, now called puff-throated babbler, giving out the call to other babblers to say, I am here, let's stay together. It's like a society. It's like a colony. It's like a social group. It's a loose, scattered group of babblers which are moving from one place to another. Now listen, the social call or keeping together or being connected or staying together is, I will beat you. But the same puff-throated babbler has a song which it performs to attract females and to tell rival males of the territory. And how does that go? Continuously long whistling call. Okay, it's really a melody to listen to these calls. I'm happy that I have learned a little bit of classical music, so I love to listen to these calls and then try and identify the sur that they are giving. I'm telling you, it's a wonderful experience to be in the forest if you have some kind of basic training of either sociology or music or anything of these types. Okay, territorial. What is territory? Territory is an area which an animal not just occupies but defends. How does the bird defend? By giving territorial call. Hey, I am owning this territory, don't come here. This advertisement is for other rival males to understand. If they come closer, then there are two possibilities. Either there is a fight, that means both the males will fight and the winning male will take the territory, or usually, please keep your mics muted. Yeah. Or on the other hand, usually animals avoid aggression. What is aggression? Aggression can lead to fight, and fight can lead to a war. Even the present war that we are talking about. Okay. Animals avoid aggression by showing the superiority and becoming submissive. Hey, I am superior to you. Either you bow down and move out, or you have a fight and take over my territory. This is what is aggression. Okay. So in animals, in birds, they have a territory. They defend, not all birds, few birds. They defend their territory, and in the territory, they will get all their resources: food, water, shelter, and mate. Okay. Food, water, shelter, and mate. And because of that, they are defending the territory. Now you can see some of the visual examples of pheromones. Alarm pheromones, like bees. If you kill a bee on your body, if there's a bee sitting on your body and you kill it, okay, by swapping it, the bee will release a chemical. The other team members of the hive, the beehive, will come to know that their brother has died somewhere. Immediately they will attack. So remember one thing, if there is a bee attack, don't kill the bee. Do not kill the bee. If you kill the bee, the scent of the killed bee will be picked up by its hive members and they will start following you. Same thing happens in snakes. When people kill a snake with a stick, the snake has released pheromones in the air. The stick is carrying some of these pheromones on the stick or on the clothes of the person who has killed the snake. Okay. Now, in villages, people don't wash the clothes. They just hang the clothes in their house. They feel that the badla lene ko, the snake has come to take a revenge, or they feel that the person who has killed the snake, the photo of the person has been taken by the snake and the snake has followed this person. No. Snakes don't have cameras in their eyes. Okay. But what is there? The snake's pheromones are sticking on the stick or on the clothes of the person who has killed, and therefore other snakes have come to curiously find out where is this snake in the house, and that is what is the origin of the problem. So bees. Sex pheromones, like cats, I told you, tiger, leopard, lion, all of them release these pheromones on the trees. Trail pheromones. Ants, when they are walking, they release a trail of tiny molecules of formic acid, and the other ants follow. So you'll see ants walking in a line, and that line is made because of formic acid. When I was young, I used to do that. I would pretend as if I'm rubbing the line between two ants, and the ants will get confused. They will not know where to go, where you have rubbed the line. So that's where the formic acid has disappeared, and you are able to see the confusion among the ants that where to follow. Visual communication, for example, peacock, its tail that is taken up by other females. When the peacock dances, we think that the peacock is dancing to tell us that it's now going to rain. The peacock is not your weathercock. He's not going to tell you that way, but you have to take a clue. The peacock is actually dancing in front of the females to attract the females. And by chance, this dance happens in or at the beginning of the rainy season. Okay. So that is how the two things are connected. Bird song, I told you, mixed, learnt and innate. The call, which is genetic, is innate, but the perfectioning of the call is learned. Okay. And that happens during critical learning period. Okay. Insect song, okay, that's innate. Let's not go into that. Tactile communication is by touch. Major primates use tactile communication. In birds, of course, there is tactile communication by preening each other's feathers and so on and so forth. Nesting, all birds make nest only during the breeding season. nest is prepared by usually females. Sometimes both parents take the duty of nest making. They collect the nesting material from their local areas, okay? Twigs, branches, lichens, spider webs, so many natural materials are used to make the nest. A baya weaver bird, what in Marathi we call as sugriv, okay? Like a good housewife. The female prepares the nest at the beginning, and one scientist sat down with one baya nest, opened the entire nest, and he found 1200 blades of grass in one single nest. The female prepares the nest. The male then comes in the territory. They court the female. They mate with the female. The female lays the eggs, and the male goes away for another female. Like this, Dr. Salim Ali, in his study of baya weaver bird, found that one male had mated with 6 females and produced eggs with 6 females. Okay, so this is how nesting in birds is a very, very interesting things. For example, the great Indian large pied hornbill, which is found in south, northeast, and in northern part of India. It's the largest hornbill that we have in India. Okay, and the Bombay Natural History Society has its symbol, mascot, emblem as the great pied hornbill. What is interesting about the bird? Very, very interesting. I'm going to take a minute because this nesting behavior is something which you must be able to study, understand, and read about. The female mates with the male. Both of them have selected a crevice in the bark of the tree. Okay, crevice means like a hole like this. Okay, like this crevice. Darar. Now, the male and the female start putting a mud plaster on this darar or crevice. They only leave a hole large enough for the female to enter. Okay. Both of them help to make the mud cementing diaphragm, as I would call it. Okay. Cementing wall. But they leave a narrow channel for the female to enter. Now the time has come for the female to enter. The female enters inside. Now, while both of them are putting the mud plaster, some mud components have fallen inside the crevice also. So the female picks up the mud from inside. The male brings more mud from outside. Both of them close the entrance, only leaving a very narrow gap for the male to pass food from outside with its beak to the female inside. Now, once inside, the female totally molts its feather. What is molting? Molting is shedding of the feathers by the birds. Molting can occur in patch-wise. Most birds do that because you can't shed all the feathers on your body at one time. If you do that, how will you fly if a predator comes? So molting is done in patches. Why is molting necessary? Because feathers become worn out, they become tattered, and they become rugged. So the birds have to grow new feathers. So when new feathers are to be grown, the old, worn out, tattered feather is thrown away. New feather is grown between the other feathers. And so you don't realize that there is a feather which is growing in between. Okay. This is called as patchy molting. In hornbill, which is very, very strange, the female throws all its feathers once it enters a nest, this crevice, once it's inside. And all the feathers it leaves because there is no need for the female to fly because at that time the male is feeding from outside. In some parts of India, tribals and other people who want to collect the eggs of the hornbill, they climb up the tree and they break the nest and they capture. At that time, the female is absolutely not possible to fly. Okay, it is totally not able to do anything else. So the female will be captured, you get the mass, the meat of the female, and you get the eggs of the female that it has laid. Now, female starts incubating the eggs. Once the first egg comes out, the female breaks the nest, slowly slithers out of the nest. Okay, once it goes out, it puts the cementing substance. The young ones are now being fed by the male and the female. When the first chick is ready to come out, now remember this, the first chick is maybe 3-4 days older than the next chick. So here is where the interesting behavior was actually photographed and videographed by National Geographic. They put the camera after removing the bark and making it totally dark. And what they saw was very interesting. The older chick is breaking the nest from inside to come out, but the younger chick has got an instinct to rebuild the plastered nest from inside. What a fantastic discovery this was. Fantastic. All these things you must read, learn, and try and understand, because people have this habit of just naming a bird. ये bird ये है, बस नाम बोल के आगे चल दिए. These are called bird tickers. I am not a bird ticker. I am a birder. Well, how is a birder different? A birder is somebody who just not just names the bird, but he tries to understand the behavior, the ecology, the conservation issues, the connection with the people, the community, the habitat, and everything. So please start understanding the difference. Birder. He does all the study of the bird and its associated science and conservation issues, including climate change. I may forget, but I must tell you, there are birds which migrate, move from one altitude to another. When the snow melts, the birds start moving down, lower altitude. When the snow starts developing in winter, the birds start migrating up. Okay. Now, because of climate change, the snow line has changed. Those birds which were being seen in summer at lower altitudes are now being seen at higher altitudes. This is a serious problem. Why is it a serious problem? Because all their feeding and other resources they were finding at the lower altitude, they will not find at higher altitude. Climate change is causing a devastating effect on the survival of not just birds and not just mammals like snow leopard and other animals, but also the flowering, the fruiting, and the trees' entire behavior in different altitudes. It's called phenology. Phenology means the external appearance of the tree, whether it is in the stage of flowering, fruiting, or tree or seeding. And phenology is dependent on the changes during the year as seasons. But climate change is causing changes in the seasons, and therefore the phenology of the trees is changing. What the birds would have found ordinarily as fruit available in a certain season, now the fruiting is happening at a different time and the birds are migrating at a different time. Okay. Very important to understand the impact of climate change on species distribution and species migration and species survival. Okay. So, nest is prepared by birds only during breeding season. Some people think that nest is a place where an animal treats it as a home and it rests there every night. No. Nest is prepared by the bird only during breeding season. When the male and the female will mate, the female will lay the eggs, the chicks will come out, and then the nest is abandoned. Some birds reuse the same nest. Some birds reuse the same material. And all this has tremendous number of variations in bird behavior. When the young birds hatch, the parents feed the young birds until the young bird is capable of leaving the nest and able to lead its own life, independent. Oh, sorry. What is brood parasitism? It is usually seen in cuckoos. Why am I saying usually? Because in English we have a proverb. Exceptions prove the rule. All cuckoos make nests except the kukal or bharadwaj or kumbar kauda that you see outside your window. That bird belongs to the cuckoo family, but it does not do brood parasitism. What is brood parasitism? A koel, when it is ready to lay the eggs, will try and tease, peck at the female crow which is on the nest, incubating its eggs. When the female crow becomes harassed and angry, it follows the cuckoo female. The cuckoo female flies, takes a nice U-turn, comes back to the nest where the crow is trying to find the female cuckoo, quail. The quail comes there, quickly lays its egg, throws one egg of the crow outside, and tata bye-bye. It leaves its egg for the crow to incubate and bring out the young one. The foolish crow, or for that matter, in every cuckoo, the host is different. So the foolish host is unable to differentiate between its own chick and the parasite chick. So the parasite is fed by the host until the parasite chick grows, okay, and then wouldn't chew. It just escapes from the nest. Interestingly, scientists found that if there is any, listen to this carefully, if there is any cuckoo chick outside the nest begging for food from its parent, and if there is another parent of another bird of a different species, not even the host, if that parent is carrying food for its own young ones, that parent will feed the cuckoo chick because the begging behavior is so strong. I'll give you an example. It's like saying that your father, when he gets the first salary on the first of the month, he distributes the salary on the way to other people and not his own family. That is how strong the begging behavior of cuckoos is. Okay. So what is brood parasitism? Brood comes from breeding, and parasitism means depending on another bird for breeding. Here, the cuckoo lays its eggs in other birds' nest and depends on the host to do the entire taking care, parental care, right from incubation till feeding the young one until the young one goes out of the nest. Nest, young ones, as they are born, they can be having their own feathers, down feathers, by which they are capable of running anywhere right from birth. But in some birds, the outer feathers are not present, so the young birds are naked. When the young birds are naked, they have to develop in the nest until the feathers will develop, and all that parental care the bird has to do, the parents have to do, feed the young one until the feathers are developed, and then once the feathers are developed, the bird becomes independent and it will fly off from the nest. Migration is a very interesting phenomenon. Migration basically is of two types: one-time migration and periodic migration. One-time migration means migration of an animal from one place to another, which occurred only once. For example, human beings. We evolved in Africa, other parts of the world, and we migrated into India. Tiger originated in Siberia, came into India, migrated and spread. Antelopes originated in Africa, came into India due to migration and spread in India. Animals from North America spread into South America. Animals from South America spread into North America only one time. That is called as single time migration. But what makes birds interesting? Phytoplankton and zooplankton migrate every day, up and down. Okay? But birds migrate every year. It's called annual migration. And this annual migration makes them unique. For example, the Arctic tern enjoys the summer both in North Pole, Arctic, and South Pole, Antarctica. So when in summer in India, in Arctic region, it's summer, the Arctic tern is there. But in the southern hemisphere, when it is winter in India, it is summer in the southern part of the hemisphere. So in Antarctica, the summer in Indian winter, the Arctic tern migrates there. So therefore, it is able to enjoy the summer both in Arctic and Antarctica. And to do that, It can move something like 22,000 kilometers. My goodness. In our college days, we used to see, and I used to show later on, the entire series of Life on Earth by David Attenborough. And in that David Attenborough's sequence, 13 episode, there is one on birds. And if you see that, David Attenborough says in that sequence, in that episode, birds have in their brain, birds are equipped in their brain with a map, geographical map, with a star chart, with a compass, with a magnet, and all the clues that it needs to move from one place to another. In English, we stupidly say bird brain. There is a proverb in English that you are a bird brain. You are a bird brain means you are an idiot. But it is so wrong to say that you are a bird brain. The bird's brain is much better as far as intelligence, power to be able to decide everything, much better than a human being. And this migration is annual feature. Birds follow landmarks. We have in India, as Kalidas had said about Chatak. What did Kalidas say about Chatak? He said that Chatak comes on Indian soil and takes the first drops of water in its beak instead of allowing the first drops to fall on the floor, on the ground. Now, it's not necessary that Kalidas may have seen. He may have seen. I'm not doubting it. But it's not necessary. And why is it not necessary? Because this Chatak, which is called pied Jacobin cuckoo or pied crested cuckoo in Dr. Salim Ali's older books. The pied cuckoo, pied Jacobin, flies in front of the southwesterly monsoon winds which come from Africa. Cuckoo migrates from Africa. It migrates in front of the clouds. And you can be sure that 72 hours before it starts raining in Mumbai, you will spot this bird. All along the west coast of India, the bird comes. So, if the bird comes before the first drops fall on the Indian soil, it is quite natural that Kalidas may have seen the bird reaching Indian soil before it starts raining. And in Mumbai, when the bird is spotted and somebody calls up the BNHS keeps the press release ready to say it's going to rain in 72 hours in Bombay. The press release is ready. The moment somebody calls up and says, Hamare khidki ke bahar, outside my window, I can see a pied cuckoo, or the bird is so tired after the migration that crows peck, crows irritate, crows mob the cuckoo, and the cuckoo enters into somebody's house through the window. And BNHS gets a call saying, there's a beautiful black and white bird with a long tail and a crest. It's entered the house. Before sending the team to rescue this bird from that person's house, they sent the press release saying, in 72 hours, you can expect the first shower. So I'm trying to correlate our own Indian history, culture, okay, Kalidas, with all these aspects of bird behavior. And that's what makes bird behavior so interesting. When I said the song that we normally say, Ai Basant Ritu Koyal Ban Bole, that is an indication that we had associated Vasant Ritu with the call of the koyal. How interesting is that? How interesting is that? So when the koyal calls, you can be sure Vasant Ritu has started. So I find this very spiritual, very exciting, and all the things which to talk about to my students and to tell them that please, please keep your eyes, ears, nose, everything open when you walk in nature, because that's where you will get the power of meditation by enjoying nature, by enjoying birds. I don't negate, I don't object any other forms of meditation which people have, but my means of meditation is music and birding or music and nature, whereby I get actual concrete things to meditate with. Okay. And one thing which I find meditation also is in teaching. You might have realized I'm totally lost when I'm talking to you because I don't know where time is and where what is happening, but that is meditation for me. Teaching is meditation for me. So migration. People had observed, one photographer had taken a photo of the birds flying over Mount Everest, and when he took the photo and enlarged it, he found some birds like the bar-headed geese and so on flying over the Himalaya. That's where we came to know. Mating system. Some birds nest in colonies. For example, if you have a ficus tree or a Arjuna tree outside your house, okay, Terminalia Arjuna, if you have that outside your house, in the monsoon months of June, July, August, you will see egrets, pond heron, cormorant, ibis, all these nesting on a single tree. So there, this is called social nesting. If you go to Bharatpur, on one tree, you will see storks, egrets, herons, cormorants, all these nesting in one tree. That is called as social nesting, social behavior. Okay. Now, among species, you have differences. Either there is monogamy, where one male mates with only one female, like for example, Sarus crane. Some people claim pigeons also mate for lifetime. They mate with only one individual. That is monogamy. Mating with one individual only throughout the life. In Saras, it is so well known that in Gujarat and Rajasthan, when a newly married couple goes to an older person, these older people, they give a blessing. May you live like the Saras couple. May you live like the Saras crane. Polyandry means one female, many males, or polygyny, which means one male and many females. For example, the example I gave you of Baya weaver bird, one male, many females in one season. Polyandry, one female and many males. It's rare and is seen in the species called spotted sandpiper. Okay, the male incubates the eggs and the female goes to other males and mates with that. Okay, this is in response to high predation rates among the bird species. Okay, I told you earlier, agonistic or agonistic behavior means aggression. Okay, conflict over resources. I told you that when there is a conflict, there is intimidation. That means one is getting scared of the other. One is suppressed by the other. And when there is a suppression, animals can just become submissive and retract. Retract means move away. You do what you want. I'm not interested in your territory. I'm going away. Okay. Usually in animals, there is easily conflict resolution by submission. Conflict resolution by submission. You are Don, you are Bap. I don't want to enter into any conflict with you. No war, no fight. You take whatever you want. That is conflict resolution by submission. You may have seen this in dogs. When a powerful dog starts attacking another dog, the other dog will just lie on its back and give away, submit. You are Bap, you are Don. I don't have to challenge you. I don't want to attack you. That's what they do. I wish this was possible in wars amongst countries and human beings. A topic of debate, but we will not take up that topic here. We are talking about bird behavior. You can discuss that with your own family, your own neighbors, and so on. Okay, I have already told you what is territory, what animals defend as its own geographical area against other individuals. Okay, because it wants to protect its own food, water, shelter, mate. Okay. Now, from this talk, if you have not ever done bird watching, then I request that spend some time in birds. Why? They are present everywhere, omnipresent. They are colorful. You can listen to the call and get attracted to them. You can know the species which is there by listening to the call. I can identify some 300-400 species of birds by their calls. Okay, there are better people, Saurabh Sawant, Amay Ketkar, Rujuta Ketkar, so many people, okay, who know bird songs, bird calls, and they can identify them. My student Shashank Dalvi, and so many people are there who can identify these bird songs and bird calls. Okay, they can tell you this bird is calling. I'm not so good at it. They are much better. They are indicators. If you hear a bird, you can know that very surely there is a habitat which is indicating that that bird is present there because of its habitat. Hobby. I remember in Ruya College, Mangesh and I, we used to watch birds outside the tree, outside the gate of the bird. We would look up and people around, they will say, क्या पागल लोग हैं, क्या बेवकूफ है, क्या stupid लोग हैं, ऊपर देखते हैं पंछियों को, इधर सामने चाय, कॉफी, डोसा है, उसको देखो ना बाबा, and several other attractive things. I'm not naming them. But then, that was our hobby. We loved it. And today, there is never a boredom in my life. You know, I have a friend in Switzerland, and we were discussing one day. Today's Zen G does not know what is getting bored. हम लोग पुराने जमाने में मोबाइल नहीं था हमारे हाथ में, टीवी नहीं था हमारे पास, हम बैठे बैठे आजू बाजू में देखते थे कौन लोग हैं, कौन क्या कर रहा है, किसके एक्सप्रेशंस देखते थे, फूल देखते थे, पत्ते देखते थे, बर्ड्स के कॉल सुनते थे, क्या क्या नहीं करते थे. हमारे लिए बोर्डम था, but to escape that boredom we had natural things. आजकल के दिनों में as soon as somebody is bored, they don't even know what is getting bored, but as soon as they find time, they will go to their mobile, they will start looking at all kinds of reels and this and that and the other. They don't know, the present generation does not know what is getting bored. Simple. So, if you have bird watching as your hobby and if you're outside, this is the best hobby. It will continue from the time you start birding till your death. You have nothing to, escape. I mean, you have everything to escape from your general life. I have a friend in Hyderabad, Ashish Pitti, and on his tagline, he writes, "Watch birds, it keeps you young." And I think I'm young. I'm 67 years old. I don't have spectacles. I think one reason that I don't have spectacles, I tell every student of mine, is because at the age of 17, I started bird watching. I started going into the forest, and that bird watching ki lat mohe lagi, I say. प्रीत की लत नहीं, लेकिन बर्ड वॉचिंग, पंछियों की लत जो लागी, उसके कारण I am very happy, I am satisfied, I am contented, and I don't have specs because of that. Because today I have to watch birds at a far off distance, caterpillars at a nearby distance, and I can do that thanks to Dr. Salim Ali and all my gurus who taught me bird watching. And because of that, I started birding and I've continued with that hobby even till today. Stress buster. Yes, birds are the best stress buster. And today, all the students that I talked about, they are earning money in dollars. Today, a bird guide earns not less than $200 to $300 per day. $200 means 20,000 rupees per day. Okay, how? By showing birds. I have myself, along with my team of Saurabh Sawant, Shashank Dalvi, and so many other people, okay, Kedar Bhide, Kedar Gore, we have gone to forest and we have taught bird watching as a livelihood to many people. Dr. Asad Remani and I, we went to Nagaland and we taught the Idu Mishmi tribal how to start birding as their hobby, and from hobby it became a profession. Shashank Dalvi and Bikram Garewal, two fantastic birders, they saw that Amur falcon was being killed in literally thousands and 1.5 lakh birds per day in Nagaland. So from killing the birds, they taught them, rather than killing, if you show these birds to a tourist, you will earn money not just today, but for all your future generations. In Nagaland, now you have several bird watchers who were originally bird eaters. They were eating the Amur falcon, and today they are showing the Amur falcon to tourists and earning money for future generations. So bird watching can be a job opportunity, can be a travel. And as I said, for me, bird watching is a meditation. I'm just going to quickly run through this talk, which I made myself. I have not yet copyrighted it. I should do that. My friends are telling me that I should copyright it. When you write your resume or your CV, you write all the flowery words about your strengths, your positive attitudes, attributes. And what I did was that learning management lessons from birds. I made a talk like this. Okay. I will not go into detail because otherwise I won't have enough time to show my videos. So every word that you write in your CV or resume, you can find every bird showing each and every aspect of this resume. Adaptability. Brown-headed gulls in Ladakh. They are adaptable. From Ladakh, they come into Bombay. Administrator. Like the fishing eagle. It can understand which fish to kill, which fish not to kill, etc., etc. Analytical skills. A pied kingfisher understands by flying and hovering in the air how to dive, how much to dive, and which prey to feed on. Creativity. Look at this beautiful pattern nest which Behaviour bird or syncreeve this. Coppersmith barbet, what is called tambat in Marathi. It's calling out from your window. It has got communication to tell other birds about its breeding season, mating season, and so on. Competency. The best of the feathers in the birds indicates that it is able to survive and preen its feathers. You know, which bird will have colorful and bright and good conditioned feather? When it spends time on preening, cleaning, and hygiene. When will it have time for preening, cleaning, and hygiene? When it is able to escape from all the predators and being able to live. Zinda rahega to hi wo clean kar paega. So a female bird has to only select a bird with good colors and pattern and well-developed feathers, because that proves that the bird has already been able to do the daily chores of its life and being able to survive. I hope you understand the entire sequence. Okay. Which bird will be able, it's like, hobby. A vegetable vendor who is outside on the street will not have hobbies because it spends all his time, her time, in just the daily chores in earning bread and butter. Only when it is able to survive, then it will have hobbies. Okay. So same way here, the color and the health of the feather will tell the female that this male has been able to live, survive from predators, from competition, from everything else. And that is what is being decided. Decision maker. Kukal has decided it will make its nest as a species, not as an individual. Dependability. You can be sure great pied hornbills and other hornbills depend on each other for the mating and for the species survival. Focused. Amur falcon. This photo I had taken in the Doyang Valley in November. I don't remember which year. I think 2016 or 17. All the green leaves and the brown leaves that you see, the brown leaves are not dry leaves. They are Amur falcon. On one single day, you will see about 1 lakh of Amur falcon flying in the air. You might feel there's a cloud. That cloud is made by the Amur falcon. Goal achiever. Crested serpent eagle finds its prey, usually serpents. I told you about the Asian open-bill stork. Hard-working because it's finding in its habitat only those apple or those snails with which it can feed upon. Immaculately dressed. I forgot to tell you, Dr. Salim Ali used to have on every 17th of September a species of wagtail migrating and coming to his garden every 17th of September. Okay. Flamingos come to Mumbai. If you have not seen the flamingos at Airoli, you don't deserve to be a Mumbaikar. Please go to Airoli. They are immaculately dressed, the pink color and so on. As the breeding season approaches in April, May, their courting starts, then they migrate. Some flamingos come from even Africa. Most of the other flamingos come from Run of Kutch in the winter. And here, leadership. You have individuals who are leading. Loyalty, Saras crane. I told you the example. Management ability, spoonbill. You see on the left are the words which you write in your CV. Actually, every bird will have each and every word, but here I am taking only one species as an example. Okay. Mental capability and application. Again, I'm talking about Dr. Salim Ali. He found a nest of a crow at Marine Lines in 1970s, which contained spectacle frames worth 300 rupees, metal frames. The intelligent crow had used metal frames in the nest as raw material because metal becomes hot, so the crow does not have to spend that much time to incubate the eggs. Mazedar cheez hai na? Such an intelligent crow. We say the crow is stupid, the crow is intelligent. But of course, the intelligent crow is fooled by the koel, okay, for laying the eggs. Organic lifestyle. The shrike, butcher bird, it's called khatik pakshi, picks up insects and impales them on thorns. So thorns bhi jo hai wo organic hai. Here you can see the bear tree, और bear tree के ऊपर जो कांटे होते हैं, on the bora tree, bear trees, Ziziphus species, it uses the thorns to impale insects. So when the insect larder collection is seen hanging, it looks like a butcher's shop, and that's how the name butcher bird or khatik. Chloropsis, green bulbul, highly organized. Okay, patience, ये है बगला, जिसको बगला भगत हम बोलते हैं ना मराठी में या हिंदी में. ये क्या करता है? What it does, it stays motionless and waits for its prey to come very close by. Totally opportunistic. As a prey comes close by, it suddenly jabs at it. So that's what is bagla bhagat na. When you are not looking, when you are not cautious, it will rid you of your materialistic wealth. पैसा लेके जाएगा, गहने लेके जाएगा, गोल्ड लेके जाएगा, कुछ भी. बगला भगत we say. Okay. Patience. If you are watching this purple heron, you will get tired. The heron will stay in the same pose like a yoga pose for 2 hours, 3 hours until its prey comes very close by. Perseverance. The woodpeckers, they peck at wood, they poke their beak in all crevices looking for insects. Personal appearance. The nightjar looks the same. It has got the bristles at the base of the beak. Okay, it doesn't mind. It doesn't go to a hair remover and remove all the bristles. It loves those bristles because that is its adaptation to capture insects. As they open their beak, the insects are concentrated to the center because of the bristles. Punctual. Quick learner. In Law College Hill of Pune, my very good friend Tej Munkur, who was staying there in Erandavana, took me one day and showed this lapwing nest on the terrace of the Law College building. The lapwing had made a nest. And in the month of May, when the tar starts melting in Pune, what the lapwing had done, it had picked up liquid molten tar from the dambar tar from the terrace and had put the spots on the eggs. So the eggs became camouflage. What a quick learner. In a few years, I'm sure, in a lapwing's evolution, tar or dambar is being used only since few years. By few years, I mean 50, 100, 150 years, 200 years. Okay. But the lapwing has evolved since millions of years. Interpersonal relationship. Rufous woodpecker makes its nest in the hole which it chisels out in an ant nest. Self-improver, koel calling. Supervisory skill, black eagle, it flies over the canopy of trees, okay, supervising its area, looking for its prey. Survival strategy, darcher, snake bird, it fishes in the water, pokes or jabs with the beak, okay, like a spear, and then comes out, throws the fish in the air, opens the beak and takes it as it comes down. Tact and diplomacy. Pupu. I think there is too many of these. Birds teach us many lessons, but are you a good student? Okay. Now, I'm not, the images are mine and Saurabh Sawant's. So I'm giving credit to my fellow birder, Saurabh Sawant. I will have to stop this sharing. And now I'll have to share the folder with the, yeah. Let me know if you can see the video now. Are you able to see the video?
Not yet, sir.
Yes, sir. We are able to see.
Okay. This is the common babbler. This is the jungle babbler. It's preening each other. When you preen each other, it's not auto preening, it's called allo preening. Allo means ek dusre ka or different. Okay, so that's a jungle babbler.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So only the folder is seen. The videos
okay.
are not seen. Yeah.
Wait. I'll do it once again.
Run the video, sir.
No. I ran it once, but wait. What I'll have to do is I'll have to share the entire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, now?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yeah. So these are jungle babblers preening each other. As I said, preening each other is called allo preening. Allo. Khud ka karega, if it does to its own self, then it's called auto preening. Auto, by itself. Auto and allo. Okay. I'll quickly go through the videos also because bahut sara hai. That's a black-necked stork feeding in Kaziranga National Park. All these are my own videos, so there is no copyright issue. Eagle owl. Eagle owls are large birds. They have a forwardly placed eyes so that they can hunt in darkness. Okay, that's an eagle owl. You can see the big eyes. Forwardly placed eyes gives them a stereoscopic vision, not binocular, stereoscopic. Stereoscopic means both the eyes can see a certain amount of field in front of them where both the eyes can focus. Stereoscopic vision gives you an idea about depth or distance, just as we have stereoscopic eyes. Okay, next one. This is feline owlet in this song is not of the owlet. This is a place called Papua New Guinea. I went 2 years ago in July with a friend of mine, Ramana Atreya. Okay, see how well camouflaged the bird is. And it uses camouflage as its survival strategy. Again, I'm saying the call is not of the owlet. These are flamingos feeding at Shivri when we were allowed to go to Shivri. Okay. Flamingos, I call them as whales of the bird kingdom. They have lamella or kind of flaps by the sides of the beak, and they use them for filtering the food out. Their food is mainly carotene based, high content carotene of zooxanthellae, zooplankton, and phytoplankton, and so on, which they feed upon. And then when they are ready for leaving, that's a pat. Okay, and then you see the pink color in the wings, because of which the flamingos are called Rohit or Agni Pank. Okay, that's a gannet colony in New Zealand, Auckland, where I had visited. Okay, this shows you that there is no territory. The territory is only a few inches. These are young birds, and see where they are nesting. This is outside Auckland. When it gets too hot outside, the birds need to flutter and leave the capillaries exposed to the sun. This is called gular fluttering. Gular means throat. Throat. Yellow wattle lapwing. Okay. This is the worst thing to do. Please never do this. Feeding gulls at Gateway of India. Gathia, Fafda, Chivda is not their diet. Don't make them fat like my community members, fat Gujaratis. Don't make them fat. Don't give them blood pressure. Don't give them cholesterol problem. I don't know how many times I have had fights with people at Gateway of India. I'm sorry, but I'm quite conscious that birds which are migrating to India, they don't deserve to be done. Hill mynas, as they are calling. Can you hear the sound?
No, sir. I think we heard some commentary, but the
No,
sound.
sir.
I think there is noise removal or something on these Zoom calls.
Wait. I'll try and increase the volume. Oh, it's already full. Let's listen again. The commentary behind is Bittu Sehgal, my friend philosopher and guide. We were in Nagarhole and these hill mynas were calling. So Bittu is saying Parvish should get a good recording of the call. So now let's listen to it.
Parvish will get a good photo somehow.
Hill myna. They're called grackle or talking myna also. Okay. This is
Not
a
able to
very...
hear anything, sir.
Oh, then your volume. 1 minute. Let's stop here. Okay.
So, sir, I think it's not the volume. I think there is some kind of filtering happening here. It's only filtering for.
Wait, there was something
Can you,
that...
sir, if you on your Zoom, see where the microphone icon is? If you change the microphone mode to original sound for musicians rather than noise removal, because I think noise removal is removing all these sounds probably. That's my guess.
Yes, I agree. Original sound for musicians. Is that what I'm supposed to be keeping?
Yeah, sir. That should allow these other sounds also.
Okay, just check once again. I'll play it.
Yes, it's working now.
I love these hill mynas. Yeah. The next video, I'm going to pause here 1 minute. This is a young Jacobin cuckoo, young chatak, young pied crested cuckoo. I told you that how other birds will start feeding the cuckoo because of the begging behavior. This video I had taken in Bharatpur. This is a young Jacobin calling and jungle babblers are feeding the Jacobin cuckoo. Now see. There.
No sound.
Hey, sound coming, sound coming.
Jungle babbler feeding young chick Jacobin cuckoo. Once again, this is Bharatpur, painted storks, young ones on the nest, social behavior, nesting all together, parakeets calling from behind. Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, look at the beautiful colors of the peacock. One more thing, all birds except pigeons and the related birds, they have a straw in the mouth. They can convert their tongue into a straw. But for other birds, they have to look back. So once they take the gulp of water, they have to look back. Only then the water can go down the throat. So I'm going to play the video once again. You'll see how the bird is taking water and gulping it down the throat. Here it took the water. Now gulping it down. And then of course, peacock fanning its tail feathers. That's all. Pheasant tail jasana near Vapi. They are called lily trotters. They have spider-like toes, and that helps to spread their weight on the lily leaves. Okay. There was a beautiful movie made by somebody. It was called The Floating House of the Jasanas. That's a scaly-bellied green woodpecker pecking at the bark of the tree, trying to remove ants. This is a very rare photograph video of the spot-bellied eagle owl. It had caught a flying squirrel. Very rare. Both are rare actually. Eagle owl is also rare and flying squirrel is also rare. This is Papua New Guinea. Listen to the bird. Now it is dancing to attract the female. This is called courtship display. See this display. Suddenly it flashes a blue color out so that the female can see. White ibis here. Behind you can hear the brown-headed barbet and tree pie. And now that is a Khandya, white-throated kingfisher calling. Again Papua New Guinea. Wilson's bird of paradise. I'm a crazy traveler. I go. That brings me to an end to the videos. Okay. If you have any questions and
Yeah,
if I have
sir.
the answer, I will surely answer.
Yeah, before I think, sir, I can see there are a lot of questions, and before we take them up, I just wanted to take a minute. This has been amazing presentation, sir. Wonderful stories of birds and fantastic videos, sir. And we will take all the questions, and I can see there are quite a few of those. And we'll take as long as we have some time and Parvish sir is available. So before anything, I can see a lot of well-known faces in the participants, but I would like to request Award sir to do the vote of thanks, which and with that we will go over to the questions. So I will ask Award sir to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and wishing you all a very happy World Wildlife Day. And I'm sure today you have experienced something very special on this World Wildlife Day. On behalf of the organizers of this monthly biodiversity talk series, it is my privilege and honor to propose the formal vote of thanks. First and the foremost, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to a true birder, Dr. Parvish Pandya from Bowens College, and also associated with the Sanctuary Nature Foundation and BNHS for graciously accepting our invitation and delivering such a wonderful, insightful, and enriching online lecture on birds' behavior, decoding courtship, cooperation, and cleverness in the wild. Sir, your deep knowledge, clarity of thoughts, and fascinating perspective have truly enhanced our understanding of avian behavior. The way you have decoded complex behavioral patterns with such a simplicity and very scientific depth made this session both enlightening as well as inspiring. Along with your constant inputs, how the students should take these lessons, and especially the management lessons which you have quoted, one can learn from the birds were fascinating. We sincerely appreciate the time, effort, and the passion you have devoted for making this lecture a very meaningful lecture for all of us. And we are definitely looking forward to have more and more interactions with you in the future. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to all the members of Maharashtra Vruksha Samvardhini, the Institute of Natural History Education Society Pune, and the Department of Botany, RG College, Mumbai, for their dedicated support in organizing this particular event. From conceptualizing the program and designing the flyer to managing all the technical arrangements, the teamwork and the commitment ensured the very smooth and successful execution of today's session. A special word of appreciation goes to all the participants, respected teachers from various departments, and the enthusiastic students who responded warmly to our invitation and attended this in such a large number. And you can make out this from the number of comments and the questions which are lined up in the chat box. Your active participation and thoughtful engagement and genuine interest are what truly give purpose and value to such academic initiative. On the occasion of this World Wildlife Day, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to understand, to conserve, and to celebrate the rich biodiversity that surrounds us. With this, I once again extend my sincere thanks to our esteemed speaker, our organizing team, collaborators, and all the participants for contributing to the success of today's lecture. This lecture, as well as all other lectures, are available online on Mission Devrai, one of the YouTube channel, which is maintained by our organization. So you can also link with us via a WhatsApp channel. So you cannot miss any of such fascinating lectures henceforth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Howard sir. Savarkar sir, I know you've been listening quite intently. Would you like to say a few words, sir? Sir, if you are saying, I think you're on mute. Sharma sir, I think Sharma
Can
sir
you,
is also there.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, Savarkar, we can hear you.
Okay. This was one of the best presentations I've ever heard or thoroughly enjoyed. There was science, uh, difficult things in science uh, interpreted excellently for everyone to understand. They were talking pictures. And it took me back to my salad days in the forest, where I spent most of my life, college onwards. This was terrific lecture that I have heard, and I think I'm going over it. I'll go over it again on the YouTube. There is so much of learning for everyone. Takes me back to my memories, the time I spent with Dr. Salim Ali, Dylan Ripley, and so many other great bird watchers. Thank you very much. It's made my day. Thank you.
Sir, compliments from you has made my day also, sir. You have been our gurus.
No. I think I could just, because of time constraint, I could have gone on and on, but that is all I could say. This is close to my heart, and I'll never forget it.
Sir, I will like to reiterate to everybody that whoever is a teacher here, don't give knowledge, tell stories. The moment you tell stories, everybody remembers the stories. So best way to get people interested in anything is to tell stories. And for 45 years in my education, I only told stories to people. And that is how people are connected to nature.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sharma sir, I think you also started, you wanted to.
Well, good evening to everyone. Actually, I fully agree with Savarkar sir, what he said, and there is nothing he left to add. And really, this lecture was absolutely refreshing for every one of us. And you said, sir, Savarkar sir, presenter has made your day. He has made everybody's day actually. Yeah, I think every participant has enjoyed your presentation. That your talk shows that how I mean the lucid way of presenting things. You are a true teacher. I got it. And some time back you said that a teacher should not give lectures, but they should tell stories. And your way of telling stories has proved it. So thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful presentation and the knowledge you shared with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I also wanted to see if I'll start taking questions. And before I do, Vartak sir, would you like to add something?
No, I think what Sharma sir said, na, that is, he is a really true teacher. That is the only thing. That much only I want to say.
Thank you, sir. And I can see a lot of wonderful people, well-known people, especially in the bird watching as well as the ecology community, have also participated. It would be great if you can, if you want to say something and unmute yourself and say. Meanwhile, I'll start. There are tons of questions, and I'll see if I can group some of these and take. There were some early ones by Anand Roy. He wanted to know, especially about these cranes. You mentioned, sir, Siberian cranes, which came to India, and if there have been some studies why these such imprinting or basically bringing them to India didn't work compared to other birds.
I've already, he mentions whooping crane in India. It was actually Siberian cranes. I've written the answers
Okay.
below, as many as possible. So I've come almost till alarm call. At 6:40, doctor,
Right.
we can't hear your whistles. Oh,
So that was because of the same filter. When you about those babblers, sir, puff-throated babblers, the spotted
no.
babbler.
So you could not hear my whistle when I was giving?
Oh, sir, no, unfortunately, we didn't.
Oh
That's
no, I wish you had told at that time. I was giving difference between the normal social call and between the this thing territorial and mating call.
sir,
I'll,
you. I know you are never shied from whistling or singing. Even before I remember, you I enjoyed those things. So we don't
I'll,
mind,
I'll,
sir.
I'll I'll do it again. See,
Yes,
puff-throated babbler, when it wants to stay together, it gives the four-noted call. I will beat you.
right.
That's the I will beat you. It's a call which the puff-throated babbler is giving to others which are around to tell I'm here. Okay. Now, when it wants to give a mating or a territorial call to attract females or to tell other males that I'm present here, it's a song. So, how does a song go? Long drawn out, almost it can go on till 15-20 seconds. So, that's its song.
Amazing, sir. Beautiful. Uh, And I think there's one about these chicks in the nest become alert when the parent is nearby. You were talking about the communication in birds
Okay.
and different
So,
kind of calls.
if you are doing photography and if you even give a slight vibration to the if you give a slight vibration to the tree or the branch, the chicks will pop out their head. So they presume that anything which comes close to their nest is their parent. So the vibration is taken as parent coming in. Okay, that is how the chicks in the nest become alert. So vibration, that's the best for them to know.
Yeah, and
I've
you,
seen red ants on Audumber tree
yeah, so
besides.
this was when you were talking about the pheromones. And Anand says that it doesn't bite him. Oh, really? Acha. Even when they fall on me. Is this because they
No,
recognize? Hmm,
as long as they don't see any threat, they will not bite.
right.
See, animals are not like human beings. They will bite even without. They will not bite without provocation.
Right.
Hmm.
Anand had quite a few questions. Notorious air show conducted by IF at a Maharashtra biodiversity area.
Oh, my bad. I made a mistake in the Behaviour bird nest. It's the male which makes the nest. In my entire frenzy, I said the female makes the nest. No, the male makes the nest. It courts a female. The female comes. I give this example to many people that the female comes and inspects as if she is the HDFC officer giving the grant to the male, for making the nest, like a HDFC officer. So the male makes the nest. It mates with the female. When the female enters the nest, the male will complete the nest and then he will say tata bye bye, now you take care of the young ones and the eggs. And then the male goes, makes the second nest, courts with the second female, mates with the second female, finishes the nest. Like this, Salim Ali had seen 6 males. 6 males. So in those days, now it is all taken as a very religious offensive statement. But in 1979-80, I had asked Dr. Salim Ali, sir, in your community only 4 females are allowed, sir. Here the male is making 6 nests and mating with 6 females, that too in 1 year. And so he laughed it out and created a joke out of it, So in those days, there was no religious sentiment and all that. Now it's all horrible. People
I think it's
will take
very
it as a
sensitive.
very
Very true.
religious. Yeah.
I think
So,
sometimes it's
and Dr. Salim Ali had a very, very interesting way of saying, he would say, the same 4 females are not there in the next year. So he had a fantastic sense of humor. Bittu Segal, my friend, will give you so many examples of his. I remember one day he asked, have you seen the gulls on the boys at Gateway of India? The gulls are GULLS and the boys are BUOYS.
ah,
And not what you think. So this is how, there were so many jokes. Now it is all taken as religious offensive joke and gender bias joke and so on. My God, the world has changed so much. 50 years ago, what jokes we used to crack, now you can't crack these jokes because you will be taken. So that's why I always say, 50 years ago, somebody said like this. I don't say this is my joke today. Because somebody will catch me and say you are gender biased, you are religious biased and so on.
the Mangesh Kulkarni sir also tried to answer that briefly, the same thing. There's
Yeah,
a
my bad, my mistake. Yeah, sorry.
by Dr. Dikwalkar about he asked to put light on cryptochrome proteins.
Where is that?
So
At
that
what
is at
times?
705. 705.
705. What? No. Where is 705? Nests are built.
Yeah, I think the third one. 705. Dr. Suyash S.
Kindly put light on cryptochrome proteins. Crypto means hidden. I think you're talking about cytochrome proteins.
Yeah.
Cytochrome proteins are basically pigments within the cells. Cytochrome. Cyto is cell, chroma is pigment. So, cytochrome proteins basically, so in feathers, like for example in feathers in the birds, there are colors, but what you perceive as colors in the birds are actually refraction, not even reflection, it's refraction. So when the light falls on the feather, due to the refraction of light, you see different array of colors in the feathers.
I think
Thank you,
yes.
Anand Roy. Thank you once again.
Miss Nulkar had a request about male decorating nests. I think this is probably when you were showing.
Yeah. Several males, what they do, they have an open field. It's called lek, L-E-K. What they do then is they start decorating the area, putting the dirty material either in or out. They feel it's decorating, but sometimes they arrange the leaves and so on. And then they start dancing in that lek to attract the females. That's one thing. Some males, they decorate the nest, they think it's decorating, but we might feel it filthy, So the term decoration is actually a very correlative term, because what you feel might be, so the males find that is as a decoration and the females get attracted. Yeah, many males do that.
And another one on why do robins put snake skin in their nests?
Oh, I was photographing the Indian robin nest at Panvel,
Ah,
and I wore a nice big chadar to hide myself, because robins, they rarely give out the location of their nest. अगर तुम देख रहे, if you are watching the robin, it will not go to the nest because it is knowing you are watching it. So it will go somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else. Although it will have food in the beak, and although young ones will be starving, so they will not go to the nest. When they eventually feel that the danger is gone, only then they will go inside the nest. And I saw there that there was a snake skin outside the nest. Now, where do robins nest? They nest under the rocks, in the crevices and the holes which are under the rocks. Who will stay under the rocks? Snakes. So the robins deliberately pick up a shed snake skin and leave it outside the nest, so other birds will feel that there is a snake inside this hole.
wow.
Brilliant, no? What an intelligent animal.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Sir, Roshi has a question. He came across peahens dancing in Pusa campus in New Delhi, and there were 5 peahens dancing. Peahens.
They will try to dance, they will imitate, but they are not actually showing off. What will the male do by the female dancing? It's not, I mean, the feathers are not big enough for them to dance. They'll just do some movements here and there. That's it. Male birds, decorating. वो हो गया. Some birds are nest
There is a question by Sanjeevni.
swift.
Yeah, is there any
Mangesh.
advantage to host species in
No,
brood?
I've written no, not really.
Really?
It, in a way, from survival strategy, the host is actually far outnumbering the parasite. So what the parasite is doing, actually it's controlling the host number by throwing one egg out. So crow ka population, you can say koel is controlling. You get the point. So the population of the host is usually too much, and that control is being done. We don't understand, but this is how the entire dynamics of the population works. Okay.
You have answered most of them. Yeah, please.
No, Mangesh is asking about house swift. Yeah, some birds like house swift, they keep their, but the house swift nest stays forever. If you go to fort area in Mumbai, there are bridges under which the house swift nests are there. They will sit there because now there is nothing else for. House swift would have actually rested on palm tree leaves. Palm trees ही नहीं रहे तो कहाँ rest करेंगे वो? तो जाके वो फिर वो old nest use करते हैं resting के लिए.
I think the last one Manjari just asked is about bird development during Jurassic period. Could you please explain the relation between birds and dinosaurs? Where they directly evolved from them?
So actually speaking, before birds there were only reptiles, okay, and mammals came up in Triassic period. They originated. Now some of these reptiles, already they were trying to become land dominant creatures, reptiles, and by doing so they found that scales which are present outside are not efficient for maintaining the body temperature constant. So slowly the scales got modified into feathers. When the feathers developed, the animal could remain outside the water like frogs cannot. They could maintain a constant body temperature because of insulating layer. Scale does not allow the skin to grow. Scale makes the animal totally boxed like a watertight compartment. Animal cannot grow in that. A snake to grow has to shed its skin. It has to shed the skin. Same way crocodiles, their scales are like outer scoots. So they found an answer by modifying the scales into feathers slowly. And that happens during the course of evolution. Once feathers were developed, simultaneously they were also climbing the trees. Reptiles were climbing the trees because to escape, number one, to escape from predators. Predators were all on land. Number two, to take the benefit of insects which were at the tip of the branches and other food sources which were there at the tip of the branches. But when they went to the tip of the branch, they fell down because the weight of the body is too much. And while falling down, they were trying to control the falling down pressure by using their hands. Once feathers grew on the hands, the falling down became easy because then the feathers became longer and the hands became their wings. This is one theory of development of flight in birds. There is another theory of flight in birds where birds were walking on the land very fast. So like an aircraft, when they were walking so fast, they had to walk fast and they had to take to flight. Like how the flying fish does in water. So this is how adaptations lead to, it's not, evolution is not conscientious. Evolution is by chance. An animal cannot decide that I want to become a bird. Reptile cannot decide mujhe a bird banna hai. It cannot say, oh, I want to become a bird, so it will do. No. It tried to develop adaptations for the kind of resources, environment and fluctuations and dynamics which were present, and based on that. So if I am a bird, I have a little bit feather and I can tolerate cold condition better, then I will live longer for giving more number of offsprings. So I will produce more number of individuals in the population. When I produce more number of individuals in the population, more individuals in the population will carry my character, which is genetic, which is having small feathers. Then through thousands of years, millions of years, many individuals will have feathers, and that is how the entire population, the ones which did not have feathers, died because they could not survive when the temperature changed. And that is nothing but adaptive radiation. You radiate into a new environment, into a new climate, into a new habitat, and there you develop adaptations. So your previous adaptations are important to survive. In your new environment, you become more adapted, so you get post-adaptations. So there are pre-adaptations and post-adaptations. Pre-adaptations are important to go to a new environment. When in the new environment, post-adaptations are produced. When post-adaptations are produced, there is a change, and the change is nothing but evolution. I think sometime I should give a talk on only organic evolution. No, you have muted yourself. Sir, you have muted.
I'm saying very true, sir. That would be wonderful. That itself would be a great topic to.
It is my favorite topic, and I love to convert entire scientific organic evolution for lay people to understand.
Yes. And I think, sir, it is very timely. It is required for whole of society, now not just students.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sir, I would like to really thank. I think we have taken most of the questions. I think they will keep pouring in. Sir, if you have a minute, last one probably is about Anand again has this question. We started discussing about it earlier about air shows in by Indian Air Force in Maharashtra Biodiversity area in Nashik, where flamingos, Himalayan ducks, etc. There is a lot of construction activity too. Would this affect their migratory patterns?
Not pattern, but individuals will die. Pattern is, हम तो अभी कल हम किस खेत की मूली है, हम तो 400 साल 1000 साल पहले आए. As far as cities are concerned, towns are concerned, villages are concerned, the birds have been doing it since thousands, millions of years.
Exactly.
In the course of evolution, when the continents were joined, they were migrating maybe 100 kilometers. As the continents started separating, they started migrating 1,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers. Then the continents started drifting more and more and more. Now you have migration from Great Britain to India.
Exactly. Sir, I know your throat must be going very
I have not
bad
taken
right
any
now.
singing. I have deliberately not taken any singing session for the next 4 days.
But at least, sir, today is Holi, sir. So, but you have a wonderful shirt, sir, which is so colorful with all those.
This is from Philippines. My friend Gayatri Misra from Philippines, she gifted this bird shirt to me. So
And
depending upon the topic, I normally wear a shirt. Fortunately, I have.
in the topic and the day, sir, and Holi is perfectly appropriate to see so many colors. It's just
Absolutely.
wonderful, sir. It was so nice of you to agree to our request and come and enlighten and with all these colorful stories. It is wonderful. I'm sure a lot of this is going to leave excellent memories for all of us.
I
And
can see a lot of people who I know
yeah,
now. I'm seeing them. Amita Nagarkatti, Dr. Shashireka Iyer, my very close friend Nilima Kulkarni. She's a fantastic zoologist herself. She writes books and so on. My student of the recent time, Samanyu Kotiankar. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see all of them. People who I know.
yeah.
Samanyu, would you like to share? He's from second year BSc in Bhavan's College, and he's at a time when I'm no longer a teacher there. So, Samanyu, would you like to say something quickly?
Absolutely, I enjoyed the session, sir. I am now even more curious to know more about birds and bird behavior.
Yeah. As I said, don't just name species and go ahead. Observe them, watch them, understand them, and see the conservation issues. The airstrike, what you're talking about, is a conservation issue. If more and more such air shows happen, then there will be an issue about these birds surviving.
And I think, sir, that is the best message that we can take from the talk today. It is to go beyond identification, go and look at these birds even around us. There is so much to see, so much to understand, and so much to learn. All your brief, what you say, flyover of the bird behavior is just gives hint of different things that we could observe in these birds, and will make not just our sessions, and probably, hopefully, I'm sure many of them will be inspired to contribute back to science through what they have.
Yes, that is what is my dream. Whoever I talk to, they must take something seriously and do something about it. As Bittu Sehgal says, we are in the exit lounge boarding the aircraft, but there are people who are now coming in the waiting lounge, the youngsters. So they have to do something. We may not be able to do as many things as now they can do. So they have to take the lead. Aage badho aur karo. Thank you so much. Chaliye.
Yes, sir.
God bless you all.
Right place to stop. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And join us again next month. I think Dr. Basudev Tripathi will be talking to us. I will share the details on our groups shortly. Thank you all. Thank you so much.